You're the other way around, right? No. Right? No, you're not. See all the guys here now.
You do?
So you got to put around the camera. Hi. How's it going?
You finally made it live, Nachman.
All these guys. Okay.
All right. Test.
Yay.
So before we, good morning. You have a Gemara?
I don't.
All right, we'll find you one. Where are the Gemaras? Here's one. Okay. There we go. Before we start the Mishnah, I printed out the 15 psukim in this parsha. It's Parak Beis in Vayikra. The Torah starts off with Oyla, V'chulu, goes straight into the Korban Mincha. And then I realized that there's some sort of, I think, some confusion. We're talking about different Menachos and we don't have a clarity of what's going on. So I figured that I'll just put it out there and maybe we could even go through the entire parsha real quickly and get a clarity here. Today we're going to discuss the first pasuk Aleph, V'nefesh kisakiv korban mincha l'Hashem. Now, the way this thing works is I highlighted and bolded the types of menachos and some of the actions that are taken with the mincha, and that's in blue. The red is basically words that we're learning the drasha from. Yeah. So the first word is v'nefesh, which means a single person, v'nefesh. La'afuke the tzibur. Kitakriv korban mincha l'Hashem, and we're going to see the drasha later on today. So the Torah tells us there's 5 types of menachos. If you look real carefully, you'll see in blue, the first thing is mincha l'Hashem soilas. That's a mincha soilas. If you skip a little bit, you'll get to...
What is soilas?
Soilas is fine flour.
Fine flour.
All menachos are made from fine flour, but the basic mincha is called a mincha soilas. What?
Except for the chafetz.
No? You mean choite. Minchas choite is also from fine flour, only fine flour, no oil and no levino. If you skip to pasuk daled, you will see ma'afet tanur. It's also in blue. Ma'afet tanur is another type of mincha. In ma'afet tanur, in that same pasuk, it says urikike matzos. So mincha number 3 would be rikike matzos, because the first ma'afet tanur is chalis matzos. Mincha number 3 is rikike matzos. If you combine chalis matzos and rikike matzos, you would get, according to one man the Omar, another mincha, a fourth mincha. Now, pasuk Hey says v'mincha la machvas. That's called minchas machvas. And then pasuk Zayin we have minchas marcheshes. Okay, so we have the 5 menachos here. Wow. It's a shame you guys came 2 minutes late. Well, because a bunch of people came 2 minutes late, maybe 5-6 people just walked in. So I'll just repeat it real quickly.
The sheets are being handed out.
Where are the sheets? Everybody grab one of these sheets real quickly.
Whoever walks in gets a sheet.
That was a nice song, man. It's worth it. Okay.
Tell everyone to share tomorrow.
What? Tomorrow, because it's Rosh Chodesh, there's a demand to push off the shir to 7:30. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes. Why let them go sit at the
They're
end?
still finishing at 8.
Yeah.
And the next day, right? And the next day.
Yeah, the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh.
You sure? There's no technical.
Okay, real quickly, if you look at this sheet, the way the sheet is, I highlighted in blue the types of menachos and some of the actions that we learned, like hagasha, kmitza, etc. And in red is a word that we make a drasha from. Now, I missed a few things, but that's okay. We'll fill them in later. The Torah tells us, v'nefesh, the first word, and that's what we're going to learn today, it means an individual. Lafuke atibur. And then you look on first line, it says soilas. That's the first mincha, soilas. You jump to pasuk daled, it says mafet tanur, that's another type of mincha. In mafet tanur, in that same pasuk, it says urikike matzos. That's another type of mincha called rikike matzos. Pasuk Hey says in mincha al machvas. That's the 4th type of mincha. It's on a frying pan, a shallow frying pan. Vin minchas marcheshes is a deep frying pan. That's the 5th mincha. Now, I think we should read it real quickly. It says the first pasuk, "V'nefesh ki takriv korban mincha Hashem soilas yir korbanoi, v'yotzak oleho shemen." You put on top of the soilas oil, v'nosan oleho levaina, and you take a whole kmitza with your hand of levaina, of frankincense. How do you say it?
Frankincense.
I'm never going to say that word correctly.
Frankincense.
Frankincense, and you put it on top of the soilas. So here's the halacha of kmitza. The kohen takes a kmitza from what? From the flour and from the oil. What does the word al mean? Without. Without the levaina, there's an isser to take even one drop of levaina into the kmitza. If there's like one grain of levaina in there, it's possible. And then the kohen takes the mincha, the koimetz, and he makes it a zikaron in front of Hashem. In other words, Hashem will remember him through, we had this in the Gemara once, Hashem will remember him through this mincha. This is the famous shirayim. What's left over after he takes the kmitza, it goes to Aaron and his sons. Can he take this shirayim and put it on the mizbeach? No. Now we're coming up to the next mincha number 2, mafetaner. How do you do it? Soilas chalos matzos. So he has chalos that are matzos. That's mafetaner number 1. And mafetaner number 2 is beluas b'shemen. The chalos matzos with oil. Or kikim matzos. That's number 2 in mafetaner meshuchim b'shemen. What's the difference? Chalos matzos is bolol. You need the oil into it. Rikiki matzos is the same thing basically, but afterwards you smear the oil on the top. Right. So this is the basic machlekes is like we'll kind of touch upon it today. V'mincha ala machvas, and if you have a mincha in a frying pan, korbanecha soilas blula b'shemen matzah tiha, it should be matzah and not chometz. After it's baked, pasois oisa pitim, you break it up into pieces. V'yitzakta oleh shemen, you pour in oil. Minchahi, pasuk zayin. V'minchas marcheshes korbanecha, and if you have a marcheshes, which is a deep frying pan, soils b'shemen tiyasa. This is interesting because the marcheshes, it's the worst, it's the most unhealthy food in the world. First, you deep fry it in oil. Then afterwards, you bake it. Then afterwards, you put on it more oil. And then afterwards you break it up and you put on it more. 3 times you put oil on it. What? Yeah. Tastes good.
Is it always olive oil? Or is it
Yeah, always olive oil. What does v'yigisha al mizbeach mean? You take it and you touch it to the mizbeach. On what corner? Ma'ariv Doraim. Southwest corner. Now, pasuk tes veherim mina akoyin mina mincha. The koyin is mafresh. He separates from the mincha. Says koros v'gdei mizbeach yisharech nechoyach Hashem. Yud v'anoi seres mina mincha la'aron levan of kodesh kadosh misha Hashem. Again, the leftover the mincha goes to Aaron's sons, to the kohanim. This we learned. I forgot to highlight this in red, unfortunately. Pasuk Yud Aleph. Kol ha-mincha. What does kol ha-mincha tell us? Anybody remember? We only learned it a day ago. Kol ha-mincha, even the shirayim. Asher takrivu l'Hashem. Do we need Hashem? Meaning, it has to be something roy for Hashem that's not pasul and not tamei. So make that red in your head. Lo yisayasa chametz. We learned the whole sugi about the double lo yisayasa chametz. Ki chol sa'ar. Ki, we learned yesterday, means you can't even have a mixture of the chametz. Chol is even a part of the shear, a half a shear. Sa'ar is that sometimes we bring sa'ar on the mizbeach by shtei alechem. V'chol, again, another time half a shear to teach us what? That a machloikis. How much is aktara also? If you hold chol is a half a shear of a kazais, a half a kazais or a half a koimetz, depending on how you learn, that's how much you have to be makdir. In order to have a aktara, it has to be a full shear of a kazais or even less than a kazais. The vash means honey of a date. What do we learn from mimenu, Rabbi Isai? Dayalim's not with me anymore. I lost everybody.
Half an hour left to share.
That doesn't matter. The ikr is that we understand. Kol shemimenu leishim. That what? That if some of it was put on the mizbeach, then the rest of it is also to put on the mizbeach. However, pasuk yud beis. Karban reishis. Oh, this is also we're going to learn today. Very important. Karban reishis takrivu oisam Hashem. Lo yalu l'reach nechoyach. Now, the Torah is telling us that there's going to be a minchas bikurim, and that you could put sa'ir and dvash on the mizbeach. You put the sa'ir and the dvash. Remember, oisam goes to the pasuk before ki chal sa'ir v'chal dvash. When you see it in context, it's a little bit more difficult to remember the drushes. V'le mizbeach lo yalu. Anybody remember lo yalu? What is lo yalu? That once you climb up the ramp, that's also part of the mizbeach. Fine. Sorry, korban reishis is not bikurim. The next pasuk, pasuk yidal, v'imtakriv minchas bikurim l'Hashem. This is what we're going to learn today. Here's bikurim, oviv kolu be'esh geres karim al takriv. And this last pasuk is very important, and we're going to get back to it later. Pasuk tasvav, the last pasuk on the page. V'nosata oleh shemen. You only put on it oil. V'samta oleh levayna, and only on it do you put levayna. Obviously, the oleh comes for a miut, a drasha. Mincha is a drasha, because we already said v'imtakriv minchas bikurim. He is a drasha. Now let's see inside.
What's Lavona?
Lavona is frankincense. But thank you. Because I just said I can't say the word, and you had a... Fine.
It's just you're perfect.
Says the Mishnah. Half hour. Yesh tu'unoi shemen u'levayna, shemen v'loi levayna. The Mishnah is saying that some things have oil and levayna, and some things don't have anything, and some things have one or the other. Shemen v'loi levayna, levayna shemen, loi levayna v'loi shemen. Ve'elu tu'unoi shemen u'levayna. These are the ones that require both oil and frankincense. There are 10 Menachos, the Mishnah says, which are minchas hasoilas. That's the first one in pasuk aleph that we just read. Va'machvas is again. We saw that in pasuk hey. Va'marcheshes in pasuk zayin. Va'chalois. Anybody know what chalois are? Where do we learn chalois? What pasuk? Pasuk daled. Ma'afetanur. Chalois matzos. V'rekikin. Where's rekikin? Also in that pasuk. Minchas kohanim. What's a minchas kohen? When a kohen brings the same mincha that Yisrael brings, it's different. Why is it different? Kulei kolil. Very good. You burn the entire thing, nobody gets anything. There's no kmitza. There's no anything. So I think it's different? No. It also gets oil and it gets levayna.
You do the kmitza with the levayna on it already, right?
No, there's no kmitza on a minchas kohen. Minchas kohen Mashiach. What's minchas kohen Mashiach? The mincha of the kohen gadol. He brings it every single day, twice a day, half in the morning, half in the afternoon. Minchas goyim, if a guy decides to donate a mincha, minchas nashim, a woman decides to donate a mincha, it has the same halachas, you put it in oil and levayna. Minchas ha'omer, that's the mincha that comes on Shavuos, to be mater the chodosh. It requires oil and levayna. Now, a new part of the Mishnah. Minchas nesachim, if a mincha that's brought together with shlamim and oila, with karbanos, tu'una shemen ve'ein tu'una levayna. This is different. It goes with a carbon, it doesn't get levayna. The Gemara is going to explain how we know that. Lechem aponim, the 12 breads that are in the shulchan, ton levayna, ve'ein ton shemen. We put the levayna in 2 spoons, and it doesn't get oil. Shtei alechem, the 2 breads on Shavuos, u'minchas choyte, and the mincha of somebody that sins, u'minchas knais, and a woman who is or her husband makes her a saita. Ein tu'unim le'shemen v'lei levayna. Like we learned, shlei achoyte niskar. Somebody that does an avera shouldn't have a beautiful mincha, so we take out the shemen, we make it the worst type of mincha possible. No levayna, no oil. Says the Gemara. Omer Apapa. Koleicha desnan esertnan. Every time we count menachos, we count 10, like we just brought the first 10 in the Mishnah. Lapukim in the Rebbe Shimon the Amar. That comes to exclude Reb Shimon, who says that there's 11, according to the second Pshat in Rashi. Mechza chalois u'mechza rikikin yavi kamashmal delay. So Reb Shimon takes pasuk dalid And he says that you can combine, if you have to bring 10 breads, you can combine 5 out of chalois matzos and 5 out of rikike matzos, and that would be a category in itself. A type of mincha by itself, says Rashi, of a combination of chalois and rikikim. And memela, I would have 11 types of menachos, and our Mishnah says there's only 10 to tell us that the halacha is not like Reb Shimon.
So these are 10 of them when you bring Dalit.
Yeah, Dalit is this 2.
You're bringing 10 challahs.
No, yeah, but we're not talking about that. That's the first Pshan Rashi. We're talking about, 10 of this or 10 of that. 10 chalas matzos or 10 rikike matzos. Yeah.
If he says
stop, I'm going to bring a mincha, which one does he have to bring?
Probably Silas. The first one. Rashi says, Stam, maybe Yisar and Silas. The first Rashi on the page. Look at the first Rashi on the page. Top Rashi. Tana Rabbanon. V'nosato oleo shemen. It says by the Minchas Oimer, v'nosato oleo shemen. Yeah.
Whenever you say a nedava of a mincha, you have to bring 10 of them?
How many of the Nadava? No, he was talking about Mafa. The Mafa is 10 breads. Mafetana is 10 breads. I'm not. Silas is not breads. You just take it, you throw it on the. You take a kmitza, you put it on the mizbeach. You're not baking breads. Mafetana is breads. It's an oven. The Silas, you take a kmitza, you put it on the mizbeach. The rest goes to the koyanim. So there's nothing left for the. So from over here in the Mishnah it says that there's no oil in lechem aponim. How do we know? Because it says that you should put aleho shemen. You should only put it by the oimer, and it comes to exclude the lechem aponim. Why? Because I would think maybe I have a kavachomer to say the lechem aponim should get oil. It's weak nisachim. It gets oil, but it doesn't have levina and. Lechem aponim shetanon levaina and adin shetanon shemen. We know that lechem aponim gets 2 spoonfuls of levaina, so certainly it should have shemen. Tamad loymar. Therefore, it says oleh shemen veloy alechem aponim shemen. Fine. V'samto oleh levaina, and you should put on it levaina, oleh levaina veloy al minchas nesachim levaina shiyacha b'lay dinu. And I would think this is a kavachomer. Ma lechem aponim shein ton shemen. By the way, Umalagam aponim she'enu ton shemen ton levaina minchas nesachim shetuna shemen eino din shetuna levaina. Nesachim that needs oil certainly should have a levaina. Taisus discusses that it's almost like a reverse kavachomer. It's a contradictory kavachomer to the first one. Tamaloi mar aleha aleh levaina veloy al minchas nesachim levaina. Mincha. All the way at the end it says mincha.
The other way.
Yeah, that's
How do you know the allel
right.
on this one or on that one?
Exactly. That's what Taisus. So we have Taisus. Now the word mincha is extra. Why? Because it already says the pasuk before that v'imtakriv minchas. So we know that it's a mincha. So why does it say mincha again at the end of the pasuk? L'rabbis minchas shmini l'levaina. It comes to include in the last day of the inauguration of the Beis Hamikdash, on the 8th day they brought a mincha, and that mincha needs levaina. So now all of a sudden we take the word mincha, and instead of excluding something, we include something. The whole time we're excluding things. We're taking aleh means only this, but not lechem aponim. Aleh means only this, and not minchas nesachim. All of a sudden we're taking a word and we're saying, but even the minchas shmini needs levaina. The Gemara is going to discuss. The last word on the page that I gave out, pasuk tazvav, so over here it is an exclusion. And the reason why it's in purple is because it just didn't look good. One red after another, so I mixed it up a little bit. You'll have it also kichol sa'ar, even though sa'ar is a drasha, it's a different color. Fine. I tried the underlining, it didn't look good. By the way, I have to thank Rabbi Pessin because I printed this out and then I showed it to him yesterday at Mincha, and he says it's ugly, and he sent me his own version of it, his own font. He had a different font. I don't have this font, and he set it up nicer. I did the outlines and everything, but he sent me this font, so I had to redo all the outlines, all the red, all the blue. It was fun. Yeah, but it's a lot nicer. It is a lot nicer. I just started with this whole word business. He's been doing it for years. All right. Zok the Gemara. So now we're going back. Aleh Shemen. Now, if you look at the last pasuk again on the page, V'nosata Aleh Shemen. It's in red. Shemen v'loy alechem aponim shemen. So that we learned drasha that only the bikurim gets shemen and not lechem aponim. Eimo leo shemen v'loy minchas kohanim shemen. Oh, so Rashi on the spot says when I say minchas kohanim, I'm not referring to literally the mincha of a kohen. So to any mincha that doesn't have shemen. In other words, a guy and a woman. Fine, but the Gemara just uses the lashon minchas kohanim. So how do I know that it comes to say that alechem aponim doesn't get oil? Maybe it's going to say that a mincha of a kohen or a mincha of a woman or a mincha of a guy also doesn't get oil. Why do I come to exclude only a kohen? So as the Gemara does in many different places, the Gemara gives you 5-6 things that it's similar. The Omer, so maybe I have it wrong here. No, it is. No, I probably have it wrong. Is by Omer. So scratch that. Okay. So Zok Gemara. Mistabro minchas kohanim havali lerebuye. It makes sense that we include a minchas kohen havali lerebuye. Shekain isaroin kli chutz v'tzura hagosha v'ishim. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. First of all, the kohen and the omer are both one isaroin. They both you have to do a lisha in a kli. Chutz means outside of the heichal. V'tzura means that overnight becomes puzzle, versus the lechem aponim, overnight does not become puzzle. How do I know overnight doesn't become puzzle? Yeah, it's there for a whole week. Hagasha, lechem aponim, you don't go to the mizbeach and go like this, but by
overnight after the week. What if you left it after
No.
its time?
Yeah, but surah just means that it changes shape. It changes the way it looks. So after one night, it changes the way it looks. What does surah mean? It changes its look. Yeah, it means the same thing. It means after its time, it's surah. But the ishim, what do you do with these menachos, with the omer and the kohen? You put it on the mizbeach. Whereas lechem aponim, we don't put lechem aponim on the mizbeach.
They stood on the shulchan, right?
Adarabba, says the Gemara, what?
They were on the shulchan.
There's on the shulchan, and then the kohanim get to eat it on Shabbos. Adarabba. Lechem aponim avalei rabuye shekain tzibura chayva. It comes from the tzibur, and omer also is from the tzibur. Chayva, you have to bring it. Tamyo means you do it even when you're tamei, you have a way out of it, but if a kohen is tamei and he has to bring a mincha, wants to bring it, he doesn't bring it. The achil, that you eat it, whereas the mincha of a kohen doesn't get in, the whole thing goes in the mizbeach. Pigula. This is the isur pigul. Why? Because the pigul there's no pigul by kohen. Why? The kohen, in order to have pigul, you have to have a mater. We learned the halach of mater. What does mater mean? That there's something else in addition to what you're doing pigul to. The mincha of the kohen, the whole thing goes on the mizbeach. There is no kmitza. Usually, in order to make mincha pigul, you have a kmitza. That's another part of the mincha. By the mincha of the kohen, it's just one thing. The whole thing goes on the mizbeach. Therefore, there is no pigul by a mincha of the kohen. The shapso, that you do the avodah even on Shabbos, says the Gemara, mistabra nefesh. Nefesh means that it's a yachid. The first word on this page, vin nefesh, it makes more sense to include a kohen, that he's a yachid, whereas the lechem aponim, we take off the oil because it's for the rabbim. V'nefesh, the whole parsha is v'nefesh, it's on a yachid. Amar, going back to what we said before. Aleha levayna v'lo minchas nesachim levayna. The omer has levayna, but not minchas nesachim. The same thing like we said before. Maybe it comes to exclude a mincha of a kohen or a goya or a woman. Shekain again. The Gemara brings Isarim balu belug mugosh biglal etzem. What does that mean? Isarim we know, like a oimer Nesachim has an isarin. Balul belug, you mix it with one lug of shemen and not 3 or whatever. Mugosh you do agasha. Biglal etzem, it comes because of itself and not with something else. Nesachim, the minchas nesachim comes because I brought another carbon, so it's an afterthought, so to speak. It comes with something else. Over here, they themselves, lechem apanim is something important by itself. It doesn't come with something else. Adarabba, on the other hand, they have other things that are similar. Minchas nesachim havalei rabuye. Maybe I should come to be marba the mincha of nesachim shekain tzibura choyva v'itme b'shapsa. That what? It's for the tzibur. Why is it nesachim for the tzibur? Maybe I'm bringing oil because there's a minchas tamid, and when it comes to minchas tamid, it's for the tzibur. Choyva, I must bring the tamid every day. V'itme, and also I bring it when people are tamei. B'shapsa, and you bring a tamid on Shabbos. Mistabra, once again, nefesh. Nefesh is talking about an individual, and memela, I'm not going to be marba nesachim, which are tamid. Mincha. L'rabois minchas shmini l'levaina. From the word mincha, I come to include levaina on the 8th day of Chanukas HaMizbeach. Ve'em Elohaitzi. Why are you telling me all our miyutim, everything in red, l'chayra is a miyut most of the time. Oleh is a miyut. So why are you telling me? That's the question we had before. Why are you telling me that mincha comes to include rather to exclude? So it doesn't make any sense to exclude, so we have to include. That makes sense. The mincha of Chanukas HaMizbeach was a one-time thing. That's doiros, it's a one-time thing. And memeli, you don't learn shah from doiros. There's no reason to include it to say that it needs oil, levina, because it's a one-time thing, and I would never think to myself to learn it out of other menachos. So memeli, I need the pasuk to include it and say that you are chayev with levina, even though it's a one-time thing. It was 8 days in history that we brought these karbanis during the Milud, but Avabikein, it requires Levina. He is an exclusion that the 2 breads that come in Shavuos don't need Levina and don't need Shemen. Again, maybe it comes, who told you what to exclude? Who told you to exclude Shtei Alechem? Maybe it comes to exclude the Mincha V'Koyin. Mistabra minchas kohanim havelei l'ribuy sheken isaron kli matzah ve'etzem agosha v'ishim. So these are the things we had already. The isaron is the same. The kli, you have to do the belila and the kli. Matzah, you have to make sure. This we didn't have, but it's easy. Make sure it doesn't come chametz. Ve'etzem, it comes by itself. Hagosha, you put it on the mizbeach. V'ishim, and it's burnt. Adarabba, turn the page. Nun Testament base. Shtei alechem havelei l'ribuy sheken tzibur, it comes for the community. Chayva, you can't, there's no way out of it. Tamyo, you do it even if you're tummy. The ochel, and you eat it. Pigula, and there's pigul. Whereas the kohen, there's no pigul, right? Because there's no matir. The whole thing goes in the mizbeach. B'shapso, you do it on Shabbos. Matir, look how many there are. There's like 10. Matir, it allows you to eat chodosh. As soon as you put it on the mizbeach, the oimer, you're allowed to, the what? Okay, and Shtei Lechem themselves, it's matir chodosh in the mizbeach, in the Beis Hamikdash. Tenufa, the halacha of lifting it up, ba'aretz, a special halacha that it has to grow in Eretz Yisrael, whereas in other menachos you get flour from any country you want. Bizman, it comes in a very specific date in the calendar. Chodosh, it has to come from the new wheat. Vahan and Nefishin, and here you have 11 verses. I didn't count how many on the other one, maybe 6. Yisaroin, Kli, Matzah, Etzem, Hagosha, V'ishim, 6. It's 11 against 6, so 11 should always win. The Gemara always says, whatever is more, whatever it's similar to more, that's how you go. It says Gemara, Afapikein, Mistabro nefesh. Again, going to the first word on the page in the perek, it's referring to menachos of an individual and not the mincha of the tzibur. And now we can basically put this page away, I think. Zok the Mishnah. Now, going back to the mincha of a saita and the mincha of a chayta. A person, what's a mincha of a chayta? A person who did an aveira that's chayav achatos, but he has no money. So instead of bringing an expensive animal, we allow him to bring a cheap carbon made out of flour and only flour, no oil, no levina. We want to show him that we're disgusted with him. Don't even make it nice. What happens if he puts shemen on it? What happens if he puts levina on it? Says the Mishnah, v'chayev ala shemen b'fnei atzmoi, v'chayev ala levina b'fnei atzmo. He'd be chayev, alav, malchus, by just putting just oil. You don't have to put the oil and the levina, one out of the two.
He did both, he gets two Menachos?
Yeah, l'chayra. Well, it's two separate lavim. Now, when is he chayev? Is he chayev right away? Or is he chayev if he bakes it like that or leaves it on? What do you think?
Puts it on right away.
So most Rishonim hold right away when he puts it on. And the Rambam says, and we're talking about the shemen, not the levina, because as we're going to see in a second, the levina you can remove. But the shemen, the Rambam says that Yechayev only once he puts it into the oven like that. That's how he bakes it. Fine. Nasan alel shemen psala. If he puts, I jumped the gun. Nasan alel shemen psala. He made it pasul, and that's the shayla if it's right away in the oven. Levina yilketena. Levina, you have the option to remove it. What if you can't remove it? That's the Gemara is going to discuss it. If it's very fine and it goes into the carbon, into the mincha, whether or not you pasul it right away.
It's allowed not to put the shemen on the...
Yes, it's a mefurish pasuk lo yasim aleha shemen lo yitin aleha levina, as the Gemara is going to bring it right away. Says the Gemara. Says the Mishnah. Let's just finish. What?
Why is removing it, if you can remove it, why
Oh.
does it undo the action?
Because there's a difference between a sina and the what do you call it? Sima and a sina. We'll see. So you might it could be that you're over.
What?
It could you are over, but you're not passing the carbon.
You gotta.
Yeah,
Get
you're
the
gonna
air,
have it.
but the carbon will still be okay if you still rectify.
The carbon is okay. You didn't passel it. Yeah. Nasan shemen al shiurel. Now, when you take the kmitza out of the mincha and you're left with the rest of the mincha called shirayim, which goes to the kohen, and on that you put shemen. And over below isasa, then you're not over. Nasan kli. So the isser is only on the part before the shirayim. If you're putting it on before he takes a kmitza. Nasan kli al gabi kli loy pasal. So this is a huge chiddush that the Mishnah has to say. Since the Torah says that I should not put oil on it, on top of it, so what if the oil is in a kli and I put it on top of it? Maybe it's on top of it. Kamash malah, no, it has to be literally on top of it, without a chatzitza. Ton rabbanon lo yosim aleha shemen vimsom pasal. Yachar lo yiten. So here's a mefurish pasuk that tells us you're not allowed to put oil on top of the mincha. And if you passel the mincha, yachar lo yiten aleh levina vimnosam pasal. Maybe I would think that levina has the same halacha as shemen, which is mentioned 2 words later. No, levina is different. Ki chatos, because the end of the pasuk says ki chatos. Where does it say it? Do we have it? Is it by us?
Very end of the pasuk.
Leitin alel levina ki chatosi.
Ki chatosi.
Very end.
Yochal af bashemen. So if kachatos, if it says it remains a chatos, even though I put levina on it, so maybe it remains a chatos even though I put shemen on it. Tamaloi marhi. The chatos remains chatos for an exclusion only for the levina and not for the shemen. He comes to say levina.
You put shemen on,
Then it becomes possible. And the Gemara says this is svara. Umari isa livso b'shemen u'lahavshe b'levina. Okay, one of them is possible, one of them is not. But why did I pick levina to be kosher? Because the nature of levina is, especially if you saw the demonstration, the big fat pieces of foil. It was foil, and that comes off very easy. Frankincense, I don't know what it is. Silver foil.
From now on, that's the code word.
Would they call that in America also? It's silver foil, fine. Says the Gemara, what if you put a very fine frankincense,
So foil.
not silver foil, but very thin, and it basically
Can't take it off.
You can't take it off. It goes inside. So what's the shaila? It's like a brisker chakira. Mishum de efshel lokta, v'lo efshel lokta. Is it because the problem is that you can't gather it, and this also you can't gather it? Ememela. V'lo efshel lokta. Idilma mishum de loy mibala, v'hanami loy mibala. At the end of the day, you can't gather it, but it doesn't seep inside like oil does. Says the Gemara, Toshma ulevaina yilketena. It says in our Mishnah that what do you do with the levaina? You have to gather it. Mashma, that if you don't gather it, it's puzzle. So if it's very fine, it would also be puzzle. So it says Mefurish in the Mishnah, it's puzzle. Says the Gemara, Dilma chada v'oid kamar. Chada deloy mibala, v'oid yilketena. The Mishnah is saying even more. L'maisa, at the end of the day, you could gather it. So what's the problem? But what the Mishnah is really saying is that it doesn't go inside the mincha. There's two things the Mishnah is saying. First of all, it doesn't go inside the mincha. Second of all, it's so thick that you can just remove it that there's no problem. But it's one thing and in addition another thing.
What did you do with the frankincense? You couldn't eat it, right?
Yeah, you makter it. You put it on the mizbeach.
You scrape it off onto the mizbeach?
No.
No. First of all, you have to.
You throw it out.
Oh, in this particular case, what do you do?
Just in general.
In general, you removed it from the top of the mincha, making sure you don't get any of the soilus into it. You take it off very carefully, and then you put it onto the mizbeach. We had a shaila, if you put it together, you don't really have to put it together with the soilus. It could be in two separate actions, but both the kmitza of the soilus and the kmitza of the levina both end up on the mizbeach. Toshma, machshani belevina she'efshar lelokta. We learned that what's the svara, what's the logic behind levina being a kosher versus the shemen, because the levina I could gather. So it says mufurish you could gather it, which would mean that if you can't gather it because it's so fine, it would be possible. It's the same teretz. It was just telling us like the most obvious reason. The most obvious reason, look, I could just pick it up and take it off. But the real reason is that it's not embedded in the mincha. It didn't seep. Oh, that's a very good word. It didn't seep into the mincha. Is that an art word? Absorbed, even better. I like that. No, but seriously. Absorbed is even better. It's not absorbed in the mincha. It's not part of it. My have Allah, at the end of the day, what do I do if you used ground up levina? What's that Allah? This is typical, right? The Gemara makes you crazy, sees if you could figure it out by yourself through our Mishnah, through another Mishnah, and then it pulls out that brisa that it always had. It says, Minchas choyte u'minchas knoi, shenosan ala levina. A minchas choyte that doesn't get oil and doesn't get levina, and you decided to put levina on it, what do? Melaket is a levina u'ksheira. All you do is remove it. What if he had a bad thought of pigul while the levina was on it? A very interesting question. Since I could remove it, lemaisa I didn't remove it, and I had a machshava. Is the minute that the levina is on it, is it considered pasul? And if it's pasul, I cannot add another psul of pigul to it. It works and it doesn't work. It's pasul, but it's not to the point where you get karas. On only one of them anyways you get karas. Only chutz zman, not chutz l'makam. Fine. It says mefurish. Once I remove the levina from it, then all of a sudden it goes back to the original halacha of pigul, and if I think about chutz l'zman, I get karas as if nothing happened before. I don't care at all that there was levina once before. Chutz l'zman pigul v'chaim olav karas. So what do you see from here? That you must remove it. That until you remove it, if you don't remove it, there's something wrong with this mincha. It's not a good mincha to the point that you can't even do pigul on it. As the Gemara is just a side question, but heavy pach, it shows that you have to remove the levina. You must move the levina, because if you don't remove the levina, you can't even do pigel on it. It's not a real mincha. It's puzzle. There's a psul here.
So the levina wasn't burned. So what was the purpose? Of just to spice the flour? What was the purpose of the levina besides for the mitzvah to put levina on?
No, it didn't spice it up. You're right. It didn't spice it up. You took it. You put it on.
You
Yeah.
only burn the flour.
No. It was just a beautiful thing. It was frankincense. It's mamish on top. Zog the Gemara. With the heavy pach, this levina that you put on top of the mincha and then you removed it should be like oil that fell into the levina. V'amai posel b'machshava dochoihu. At the time that it's on there, it's dochoi. It's a rejected mincha. You can't use it right now because there's a levina on it, and if it's rejected, how could you have a machshav of pigul?
After you took it off your mincha?
No.
While
It's there. You said that while it's there, at least it passes the mincha. How could it pass? How could it have any effect whatsoever? This mincha is a no good mincha. So we have a few tirutzim. Omar Abaya, chatas kari rechmana. You're right. Theoretically, what you're saying is true, but since it says chatas, it's a special ribui that it continues being a chatas throughout, even though the levine is still on it. Rava Omar Homani Chonan HaMitzri Hiu. This goes according to a special sheet of Chonan HaMitzri. The less late Chuyim, he holds that since this rejection is only temporarily, it's only there temporary, and since I can remove it, and I will remove it, so it's not considered dachui. There is no dachui in such a thing. The Sanya Chonan HaMitzri Oimer Afilu Dam Bakois maybe Chaver Shalei Bagrolam Zavigloi. We're talking about the Sari Lazazel and the Sir Chatos on Yom Kippur. So I have a Sir Chatos, I have a cup full of blood, I'm ready to pour it on the Mizbeach, and his partner, the guy that he's supposed to throw off the mountain, he dies. So I can't do it anymore. He holds, all I need to do is go to the store, buy another goat, and use him as what happened to my blood in the cup? The blood in the cup, while he died, became dachui. I couldn't use it, I didn't have a partner. No, you just replace the partner, it's a temporary dichui, and it works. Ravashi Omar, Kol Shebiyodoi lehavid dachui. Over here we're talking about a case, you can just pick up the dichui in a second. All he has to do is remove the levina. I'm not going to say the word in English. You can remove it from the top in a second, and in Mela, that's not considered a dichui. In Ilchas dichui, that's not a problem. What?
Go buy a second sire.
Yeah, but over here it's mamish biyada. It's in front of him. All he has to do is to take one action with his hand, go like this, and it's over.
Literally beyond.
It's mamish biyada, literally biyada. No pun intended.
The dam is a very big chiddush because he can even.
Hold on, let's just finish. Omar Ravada Kival say the Ravashi Mistabro, the man Shamas Lei Dislei Tchuyin Rabbi Yehuda. This is the famous Rabbi Yehuda we had in Zvachim a bunch of times. The Snan Void Omar Rabbi Yehuda Nishbach Adom Yom Samshtaleach. If the blood, he holds that dochui is dochui in this case of the Sari Lazazel. You can't just use the blood. You have to start all over with two new goats. When it's in his own hand, what's the famous case? Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Kois Hayim Emalim and Damat Harovis V'Zoykiz Riga Achas Keneged Yisoid. On Erev Pesach, there's so much blood in the Azara. You take one cupful from the floor. Now, when the blood is on the floor, it is dochui. I could take a cupful of blood from the floor, and in every cupful we said there's a minute part, a molecule of somebody's carbon, of everybody's carbon. We have all the carbon since it's liquid. In every part of liquid, you have all the liquids combined. You take that and throw it on the mizbeach, and I'm yoytze the zrika, just in case I didn't do zrika for some guy's carbon. What do you see from here? Even though it's dachui, in the case of biyadoi, that I could just pick up blood at any time and sprinkle it, then you don't say dichui according to Rabbi Yehuda. Have a wonderful day. Tomorrow again, Rish Chodesh, Shir will start 15 minutes late at 7:30 and finish 5 minutes early.
That's a big chiddush because there
Hit me
you have
up.
to bring a completely another cup of blood for the sire.
What?
The sire is different because there you have to bring a completely different cup of blood.